You've probably been told that bonding with your cat is about patience, about earning trust over time, about giving them space and waiting for them to come around. And you've probably tried all of it. The slow approach, the gentle voice, the hand extended, palm down, the way every article tells you to. And still, the cat walks away. So you start to wonder if the problem is you. If maybe this cat just isn't affectionate. If maybe some cats simply don't bond the way others do. Here's what almost no one tells you. Most of what you've been taught about connecting with your cat is built on a misunderstanding. Not a small one, a fundamental one. The advice most cat owners receive, from books, from videos, from well-meaning people, tends to focus on emotion. But cats don't interpret the world primarily through emotion. They interpret it through sensation, through movement, through what their nervous system is picking up in every interaction. Signals so subtle, most humans never realize they're sending them. The gap between you and your cat probably isn't emotional. It's perceptual. You're speaking one language. Your cat is reading another. And once you understand what your cat is actually responding to, almost everything about the relationship starts to make sense. Part 1. Movement. Most people assume their cat pulls away because it's independent. The cat keeps its distance, and eventually you accept it. That's just how cats are. Self-sufficient, wired to be alone. But independence doesn't explain the flinch when you reach toward them. It doesn't explain why the same cat who avoids your hand will press its entire body against your leg at 3 in the morning when the house is quiet. Something else is happening, and it starts with something you'd never think to examine: how fast you move. Cats have a visual system built for motion detection. Not color, not fine detail. Movement. Evolved over thousands of years to track the smallest shift in their environment. A shadow crossing a floor. A hand changing direction. In the animal world, speed is never meaningless. It always communicates something. And fast movement belongs to a very specific category: threat, chase, conflict, escape. A cat's nervous system doesn't stop to evaluate your intentions. It reads the pattern and responds. So when you reach toward your cat, with love, with warmth, with nothing but affection, but you do it at human speed, your cat's body doesn't register affection. It registers pressure, a narrowing of options, something unpredictable entering its space. You can see it if you know where to look. The pupils shifting, a micro-tension along the spine, the tail dropping still. These aren't signs of a cat that doesn't like you. They're signs of a nervous system doing exactly what it was built to do. It's responding to velocity. And when you slow down, genuinely slow down, not just your hand, but your whole way of moving through the room, you change the message completely. Slower movement says, nothing urgent is happening. Nothing sudden is coming. You don't need to prepare. For a cat, that predictability isn't a preference. It's the foundation trust is built on. Part 2. Sensory load. When your cat walks away, it feels personal. And that's what makes this one cut so deep. You're sitting together. Things seem calm. And then, without warning, the cat stands, stretches, and leaves. Settles in another room. Doesn't come back. The story writes itself instantly. I did something wrong. The cat doesn't want to be near me. I'm being rejected. But here's what's actually happening in most of those moments. Cats don't only retreat from danger. They retreat from excess. And the threshold is far lower than most people realize. A television murmuring in the background. A conversation in the next room. The hum of a washing machine paired with the clatter of dishes. To a human, this is just an ordinary evening. To a cat, it's a rising tide of sensory input. Sensory load doesn't hit cats all at once. It accumulates, quietly, across hours, sometimes across entire days. And when the threshold is reached, the cat doesn't announce it. There's no warning. It simply creates distance. The cat isn't withdrawing from you. It's regulating itself. And the difference between those interpretations changes everything. Because when you believe it's rejection, you follow. You try to fix it. You add more attention to a moment that already had too much. But when you recognize it as self-preservation, you can let the space exist. Without guilt, without the story. That restraint, quiet as it is one of the most meaningful things you can offer a cat. Part 3. Touch. There's an assumption most cat owners never question, that more affection means a stronger bond. In human relationships, this is mostly true. More holding, more closeness, more physical presence. With cats, the logic doesn't just fail, it backfires. For a cat, affection isn't measured in quantity, it's measured in timing, in context, and above all, in whether the interaction was chosen. Think about when you typically reach for your cat. During a nap, while they're watching something through the window. During one of those quiet, self-contained states, cats drift into somewhere private, somewhere internal. Touch offered at the wrong time, even soft touch, even loving touch, doesn't register as connection. It registers as interruption. Do this often enough, and the effect is cumulative, quiet, subtle. But the cat begins to associate your closeness with a loss of control. The most meaningful contact is almost never the one you initiate. It's the one the cat chooses, the head pressed into your hand, the slow approach, the quiet settling beside you. That's not less love. That's what love actually looks like to a cat. Part 4. Stillness. We assume that building a relationship means doing something, playing more, talking more, engaging more, but some of the deepest shifts happen when you stop doing anything at all. Real stillness. The kind where your breathing has settled, your attention is soft, your body has nothing it needs to do. Cats are remarkably attuned to this. They can tell the difference between a person who is still and a person who is calm, between a body that has stopped and a body that is at rest. And when you become a presence without agenda, you become something rare in a cat's world. A presence without demands. A presence without pressure. A presence that feels safe. The cat notices. It always notices. Part 5. Affection. When people imagine a deep bond with a cat, they picture something visible. A lap cat. A constantly affectionate companion. Some cats are like that. Many are not. And the absence of those behaviors doesn't mean the bond is weak. It means you may be looking for the wrong signals. The deepest bonds with cats often look quiet, subtle, almost invisible. Not intensity, not persistence, accuracy. When you stop performing affection and start paying attention, genuinely paying attention, something in the room changes. Not all at once, not immediately, but gradually the distance shrinks. The cat lingers, sits closer, stays longer. Not because you used a technique, but because the pressure your cat once felt slowly disappeared, and that's when it lands. Quietly. Not, my cat finally loves me. Just, oh, that's all it was.